Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed to another edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast here in beautiful Brevard County as I'm broadcasting here from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. We also want to thank our brand new sponsor as well. Great partner of mine, Walk On Sports Bistreaux there in Vieira. Let's get this fine gentleman on. Joins me every Tuesday. Great friend of mine. He's Alan Zlotorzynski with Brevard Sports Network. Alan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me, buddy.
I was you this morning. We've switched roles. You were in the studio. I actually went to a press conference today. I don't know how you do it, buddy. You run around Brevard County all day long. Don't you get tired from going to all these press conferences?
Yeah, and and my body's starting to feel it. I did a double header yesterday, and my left knee swelled up real bad. And so I texted Jerry Durney and emailed the athletic department at Florida Tech. I appreciated the invitation, but I watched your stream, and it turned out just fine.
I appreciate that. I really do. And yes, they introduced, and we'll just start there. Then we'll go to high school sports here in Brevard County. Florida Tech. And Alan and I were talking about this right before we came on camera. Look, Florida Tech men's and women's basketball. You had Coach Billy Mims, a great friend of both of ours. He was there for like 2 decades.
Yeah.
John Reynolds, the women's coach. I mean, that guy, 4 decades?
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm sorry I have to say this. High school sports here in Brevard, we got a new coach every 3 weeks or 2 days. That's what it feels like with football and basketball. And that's a whole other story. But like those 2 basketball coaches are not there anymore. It's shocking. They both stepped down. The school's going younger. I like both coaches that I met today. I really did. I thought it was new energy. And it's just, I'm telling you, dude, I want your thoughts. It was just kind of bizarre to be there from what you're used to.
Well, John Reynolds, 38, 39 years at Florida Tech. I mean, he was a little kid. I was a little kid when John started, a teenager when John started at Florida Tech. Yeah. Look, I can't speak on the hires. I had the opportunity. They both come from Wofford. Obviously, we know what the Wofford men's basketball team has been able to accomplish. They were just in the NCAA tournament this year. So, I guess I just have to wait, Mark. And if I could be honest with you for a minute and not to be controversial when I say this, but I would like to see Florida Tech's athletic director, Jamie Joss, engage the community once again. And again, hopefully the new the new men's coach, Will Murphy, right? Mm-hmm. And the new women's coach, hopefully we can see them become more involved in the community. I think and listen, the way I think, or the attitude that I think that the community has towards Florida Tech athletics at the moment isn't Jamie Joss's fault. I think this goes back to Dr. Dwayne T. McKay. And again, I'm being honest because you could find me at Florida Tech watching soccer, baseball, softball, covered it all when I was over, working with Space Coast Daily. And we even, I did the Steve Englehart show, the Billy Mims show. I did all of that there. And then all of a sudden, it just felt like that once the pandemic hit, there was this great disconnect with the rest of the community from Florida Tech athletics. My goal, I would love to see that connection established once again, because if you ever went to a Florida Tech basketball game, men's or women's, if you go to a baseball game or a softball game, and Jerry Durney will tell you this, he does a terrific job there. I broadcast with Jerry Durney a season of Florida Tech football. There's a lot of excitement that can be had there, and this community wants to love that those athletic programs. I hope that happens again.
You know what? That's fair to say that, and that's okay. I agree with you. They shut down the football program. Was that at the start of the pandemic?
May of the pandemic.
Yeah, they shut it down. And I'll always remember this, where was it The Athletic wrote an article about how they shut down the program and all this stuff. And people are sending me the article and they're like, oh, you got to read this. I'm like, why? I was here for the whole program.
Well, I think the reason that article was so valuable to the rest of the community was that article essentially was the counter to the reason Dr. McKay said they were getting rid of the program. It didn't make money. It didn't do this. It didn't do that. And I think that article kind of shed a light on the fact that it did make a little bit of money. I don't know how much, and I'm not here to rehash all of that. But they played in the golf. Listen, Florida Tech Athletics plays in one of the most competitive D2 conferences in the country.
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, look at Nova Southeastern basketball, Mark, and what they've been able to accomplish, right? So you look at Division II football and the Valdostas and the West Floridas of the world. I felt like, just let's talk about the football program and the blood, sweat, and the tears that Steve Englehart poured into that program. And it's not just the football program that got yanked out, Mark. That, remember, the golf team won a national championship and they knew they were getting disbanded, okay, and still won a national championship. So they did away with a lot of athletic programs there. And I think a big part of this community felt like unjustly. And that's where the disconnect occurred. And you don't need to point to anything else other than that.
Football played from so what would it be, 2013?
8 years, played 8 years.
So 8 years of football at Florida Tech. And, you got to give credit to Coach Englehart. I know he's at Presbyterian now. They were competitive right away.
Yes.
Right away. The first couple of seasons made playoff runs, won playoff games. Like, he did a phenomenal job at Florida Tech. And I forgot about that. You and Jerry did call the games. I forgot about that. That's right. Yeah. You guys did a good job with that. And I understand what you're saying with the disconnect. And I talked to the athletic director today before the press conference started. And I'm like, look, I'd love to get your coaches on and get that connection again. I would. And that's why I went to the press conference. They're right here in Brevard County. Yes, it's Division II. And I hope they do a better job. And remember, I'll just say this. When they first started football, Alan, they were doing like tailgate things and they were doing pep rallies. And I get it. There's money for everything. But I agree with what you said at the top there. Hey, try to connect with the community again. You should. And I hope they do, Alan.
I do too. And again, we got a great guy down there. I believe he still does a lot of Jerry Durney's the best. He's just the best that there is when it comes to, broadcasting and calling a game. He's had some memorable calls for all types of sports at Florida Tech. And so my hope is to just be able to, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Listen, I can pick up a phone and call Michael Parsons. I can text Michael Parsons at Eastern Florida State right now, and he'll text me back in 10 minutes. You
want the connection. You want that connection again.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. And I think that, I think that they have an opportunity, at least with the basketball program, to do that here.
What's interesting is, and you brought this up a second ago, here at the Alan Zlotorzynski Brevard Sports Network. So, the new men's basketball coach and women's basketball coach were both assistants at the same D1 school, Watford University. They were both there. So at the press conference, I asked them, wait a minute, did you two know this was going to happen? Like, this is just bizarre. I don't think they did it first. I know we'll get the full answer after a while. Dude, I don't think I've ever been to, and I want your answer on this. I don't think it's the first time I've ever been at a press conference where you introduce a men's and women's coach, and they're both from the same area. And
never seen it. No, I've never seen it. I've never, ever. Ashley really Ross spent, I think she spent the past 3 years in as assistant at Wolford. And Coach Will, I think, was 8 years at Wolford. Yeah, it's strange. It's, look, I mean, okay,
I know.
Look, I don't know what else to say about it other than, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, and it's interesting with these types of press conferences. at the collegiate level moving forward. This is not just D2. This is all levels of college. I had asked the question, I know Jerry did as well. Hey, moving forward with recruiting, even at a smaller school like this. Okay, how do you talk to a student athlete who's in high school? How do you recruit them? The mindset of a 16, 17-year-old is different now than when you and me were growing up recruiting wise. They got social media. They got the internet. All right. Do I want money? Do I need to play? If not, am I going to transfer? All these things are new. It's the wild, wild west. What about you, Alan?
No, it is definitely different. And coming from D1 to D2 is different. I don't know how much money's in the basketball budget over there, but they got to get to work recruiting right away.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Division II, Division I, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is winning. Winning's what matters, I guess, now. And so in order to do that in today's college world, Mark, you got to be able to navigate all the waters you just mentioned, plus the NILs. In Division I, how are you going to allocate your funds? It is a wild market. And that's what it is, Mark. It's a market. It's no longer where you go to this school or that school. I don't even know if you call it recruiting in a couple of years. Yeah, I mean, national, commitments, right? What are commitments anymore? They're nothing.
I agree with you. I don't take it seriously. And I'm talking Florida Tech, Florida, UCF, Florida State. I'm not taking it seriously until I see that student athlete on the field.
I like it more when a high school student athlete puts a post up on Twitter that says, I am deciding between these 5 schools. Mm-hmm. I will decide which one is the leader in the clubhouse on this date, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. And I've told you this joke before. Stop posting you're blessed. I'm blessed to get an offer. I'm blessed. Just stop it.
Half of them aren't even legitimate offers. So I mean, that's a whole different conversation.
All right. So if you want to check out the press conference from Florida Tech, hey, I posted it on this Facebook page. It's also on YouTube right now. Just search Mark Moses Show. We are here with Alan Zlotorzynski, Brevard Sports Network. You know what's a story we did not bring up last week? I know we were talking Florida Gator winning the title, all that stuff. You posted, and I give you credit for this. Did Ryan Schneider, the 3-time defending Cocoa head football coach, champion here in Brevard County, did he go up to the state capitol to demand and vouch for other coaches in this state to make a better wage? Did that happen?
He did. And there's a heavy, heavy, heavy Brevard County connection to this entire process, Mark. Schneider goes up, he speaks up at the state capitol, the state lawmakers in Tallahassee, and he delivered a terrific speech. Schneider delivered. If you notice in the video I posted, standing right behind him is Mike Allstott.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Schneider delivered a terrific speech, and it really is quite the joke of what Florida coaches in all sports make. And listen, the Florida Coaches Coalition, and this is a guy, Mark, I think you really need to get on your show sometime. He used to be the head athletic director here in Brevard County, Dr. Andrew Ramjeet.
All right.
And Ramjeet, I always say his name wrong, Dr. Andrew Ramjeet. And he is now, he left to start the Florida Coaches Coalition. And in fact, a couple of years ago, I think their second year in existence, we picked up the award for the best sports media outlet in the state of Florida. I mean, he's done a terrific job over there. And, but I really believe they're gaining traction. Okay. Listen, it's like tank traction, if you know what I mean. You know how a tank, those things roll. But I think Schneider's, you could hear when Schneider said, I make less than $3,000 a year, you could hear audible gasps in the room from people. That's a joke. This guy has won 3 state championships, and he's making, $3,500 a year on a job that's $365. And it is. Coaching at football, some of these sports, I'll even tell you volleyball, they're all year-round sports now, Mark. These kids, we're getting ready to go spring football, right? They got off-season workouts. It's no different in high school than it is, Mark, in college anymore in terms of what's required of coaches to push their kids, right? So, yeah, the pay's a joke, and Ryan did a terrific job.
That's really cool. Yeah, check out the Brevard Sports Network Facebook page. You can check that out from last week. I know that guy, there's so much going on. It kind of got lost in the shuffle, so I wanted to bring that back to you.
Sure.
Yeah, so, and I said a jab at the start here where, coaches change. It feels like every 3 weeks. I think because the pay hurts. I understand. And didn't John Wilkerson, who was at Cocoa, didn't he leave to get a better job?
Well, no, John left to go to New Smyrna Beach. You're thinking of Derek Smith.
Derek at Vieira.
Who left to go to Georgia. Listen, you can, and as Schneider told the lawmakers, I can go 30 miles north of here and go make six figures as a high school football coach in the state of Georgia. And he's not lying.
No. And look, it's like the college athletes. Hey, you got to go where the opportunity and the money is sometimes.
Why, if you're making, let's say theoretically on the high end of the stipend in the state of Florida for a high school football coach, $5,000, that's the high end, right? And you're a winner for a couple of years, and a school out of Georgia calls and says, hey man, once you come up here, we got a house we can put you in, you and your family, get your wife a teaching job. We'll give you $90,000 a year, get you a car. You're gone.
You told me 2 weeks ago, Palm Bay women's basketball coach won a state title and then left for a better opportunity here in Brevard County.
And thank God he was able to be kept in Brevard County. And we're talking about E.J. Murray, who goes to MCC. But yes, Mark, coaches deserve to be paid too. And, I read these comments that say, well, they got to do it for the love. Listen, if you're getting paid $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year, you're doing it for the love.
Yeah, you really are. Hey, I'll tell you some behind the curtain stuff. I'll have clients go, hey, come out, do the show, Mark, at my business. I'll pay you in buffalo wings. I can't pay my rent off buffalo wings. I'm sorry to tell you
I don't think my landlord would appreciate a check with buffalo sauce stains on it.
No. So I want to say this to you. I'm happy you posted that video. That was very important. And I give credit to Coach Snyder. I really do. Because I know it affects him as well. He is a great dude, and he is the best coach here in Brevard County. I'm sorry. Right now, any sport, he is the man. 3 championships in a row. And I know he's thinking right now, I'm going to go for 4 in a row. I know that's what he's thinking. He is.
Why he came back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, you brought this up. Okay, spring practice for high school football. What's the latest as of today, buddy? With the
starts April 28th, so a couple more weeks, and we'll get into it. We're just getting we're just preparing and getting set to kick off our coverage.
That's really cool. I know you go around the county. You'll hit the different practices and everything. I think Jeff Panucci at Melbourne, he posted, I think through X or Twitter, the schedule, right?
Yeah.
Here's spring practice. And I think the practices are at 6 to 8 in the morning. No, Coach, I can't do 6 a.m.
I don't think I would have been a football player had I had to practice at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. All right. Okay. So you're in Melbourne. You're a Melbourne high school football player. It's spring practice. 6 a.m. This is not waking up at 6 a.m. You got to be there ready to go at 6 a.m. What time are you getting up?
I'm getting up. And once I see that it's 6 o'clock in the morning, my new sport is I'm joining the golf team.
Look, you want the smoke, you better be ready.
You're not blindsiding me at 7:15 in the morning.
Oh man, you probably got to get ready. Then it's not like, and this is why I give credit to the student athletes here in the county. It ends, and then it's not like, oh, well, we'll go back to sleep now. No, now you got a full day of school.
You got to go shower and go to school.
Oh, I better be playing. If I'm getting up at 3:30 in the morning to make sure I'm ready, I better be getting on the field, buddy. That's right.
55-year-old Allen says 18-year-old Allen's not doing that.
No, he's not going to do that.
Right.
All right. You said this. We're going to do it one more time. You already have your top 5 lists for the fall, don't you? You already have your top teams.
I've got, yeah, listen, man,
I'm laughing. I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
I want, let me get through spring before I kick that out there. But I will tell you this. That I firmly believe heading into the fall, the two best teams in the county, again, will be the two teams that were the two best teams in the county last year, and that's O'Galley and Cocoa.
My number one question for Coach Snyder when I get a chance to talk to him with Cocoa football, who's quarterback? Your last one went to Texas A&M, and the one before that went here, and it never ends. I'm intrigued to see what the quarterback play will be at Cocoa.
It's going to be a good battle. Troy Silverzon has been working really hard, and I'd like to see Silva get a shot.
Yeah, so we're going to find out. For high school, that's football, and as you said, it's going to start at the end of the month for spring practice. Do you have postseason play for baseball right now?
Yeah, we're in district tournaments for baseball and lacrosse. For that, yeah, district championships tomorrow night in lacrosse. Holy Trinity is playing Merritt Island tomorrow night. That's going to be on BSN. You're also going to see Vieira and Melbourne in district championship baseball tomorrow night. I know the Vieira girls are playing Vero Beach tonight for their district championship. So the FHSAA will release the state championship brackets, and you and I will break them all down next week.
Okay, that's really cool, dude. And then you'll sleep sometime in June. I see what's going on here. What are your thoughts for college football then? Here with Alan Zlotorzynski, Brevard Sports Network. I got in this discussion yesterday with Andrew Spivey, who covers the Gators. None of the spring games are on TV. There is what? I don't understand. I get it. It's a glorified practice. I don't understand. Just put it on TV. What are they hiding? What are your thoughts as a guy that likes college football?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I think, listen, and I can't remember which one of these movies I saw. I think it was Bear Bryant that did this. Bear Bryant went to John Robinson. I think it was John Robinson at USC. And Robinson taught him a new offense to take back to Alabama with him. This was when Alabama started integrating. Okay. And Bear Bryant changed the offense. And when Bear Bryant changed the offense in Alabama, he put up barriers around the entire practice facility. Nobody could see what Alabama was doing. May have even been, I may have the coaches wrong. It could be Barry Switzer at Oklahoma too, when he implemented the wishbone offense. Okay. One of the two. But anyway, make a long story short, that was kind of the explanation that Billy Napier gave, was he didn't want to put out there the direction the Gators are heading. I don't care about spring football. I never watched it. Listen, I know you diehards out there got to watch the orange and the blue game. I get it. Look back over the past couple of years of spring football. What did you get out of any of it?
None. The only thing I got out of it last year was I at least saw Lagway for a second throw the football. So
you got nothing out of it.
Nothing. Okay. You have no problem. We're going to make sure Alan, his official statement is correct. He doesn't really care for a spring game. He will see you in the fall. Is that what this is?
Listen, I like the blue. I think these teams need to get together and do some hitting in the spring to culminate a couple of weeks of practice. But I don't think it needs to be, I don't think you need to sell tickets to it. I don't think it needs to be part of the SEC network. I don't think it needs to be on ESPN. Nobody cares. Or obviously some people do, because there's a lot of people pissed about this. But yeah. I would say this. You as a media member, you're getting more out of going to the everyday. If you are a guy that covers the team on a daily basis, you got what you need.
Here's what I say every year for football. It doesn't matter what. It could be high school, Pee Wee, college, NFL. I say this every year. You've heard me say this. I will say it again, Alan. So July and August is fantasy time. Our offense is going to be great. We're going to be amazing. Our defense is going to be shut down. We're going to win the championship. Then September hits. September's reality. September is the wall you get thrown into. Oh no.
Yeah.
And, Rob Schneider would say, we suck again.
Yeah. I always get a kick out of Ryan Schneider. Like, we'll show up on Thanksgiving morning and we'll have the camera and he'll turn around and he'll look at me and words I can't repeat on air, but in so many words, he'll tell me, "Hey, you better make sure they didn't see my offense." And I look at him and I go, "Coach, there ain't nobody in Bradford watching Brevard Sports Network's Thanksgiving morning practice. I promise you." But I turned the camera away.
Yeah, you have to. Look, I'm telling you, September is reality. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes reality is not fun. Oh no, we suck. Like, I always say this about like these NFL meetings they have right now. And they had one in West Palm Beach, and they'll have them in Destin. All the coaches get together, the owners, the GMs, they'll talk to the media. And I'm telling you, they had it in West Palm Beach 2 weeks ago. People are like, Mark, why didn't you go? I'm like, it's all fluff. Dolphins.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's all.
How's this lineman looking? He's looking great. How's it even? Everything looks great. You guys going to be competitive? We're going to be a great team this year. Oh, really? You are? You mean like you haven't made the playoffs in 20 years? You haven't won a playoff game?
That's the goal, Mark. We're going to make the playoffs this year. That's the goal every year. Listen, Florida's got a standard tradition, and we aim to please and live up to that. There you go. There's your soundbite, brother.
That's what it is right there. Now I'm laughing. It's so good, dude. It is. All right. Speaking of the NFL, the draft is next Thursday. I am going to give you my official statement. As you know, I love the NFL draft. I am a junkie. You and me have been doing this for years. I buy the preview magazines. I get insiders on just like you, and I get ready, and I host my draft party. I think this is a weak draft. I think it has no buzz, and I know I am a man that's supposed to hype stuff. I get it. Alan, I say this from by my heart. There is no sex appeal. There's no hurrah. There's nothing. I watch ESPN. I read articles. Everyone's trying to talk about Shedeur Sanders. I think it's a weak draft. I think this is like when the Jaguars had the first pick and they didn't know what to do and there was no quarterbacks. And then they had to get the guy from Georgia, Walker, and they didn't want to draft him. I think that's what's happened. How do you look at just the buzz of this draft for next week?
The weakest draft in 2 decades.
Ooh.
It is. Now, teams can find depth in this draft.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be able to find your typical offensive lineman in this draft. Of course, there'll be a tight end or two that comes out of this draft. But you take a guy like it, I don't know. I mean, you look on the board. How utterly floored are you by, say, Cam Ward? How utterly floored are you even by – I mean, I think Abdul Carter's a good pass rusher, right? But there's a franchise that may have to decide if he's the best player in the draft. He's not. And you look in previous drafts and you go down, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Mason Graham, and the list goes on. Where would these guys be taken in some of these premium drafts?
Okay. This is a good hypothetical, and we're here at the Alan Zlotorzynski Brevard Sports Network here on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. All right. The number one pick is going to be the quarterback, Cam Ward from Miami, and he is a great prospect. He is.
Yeah.
And he helped, I'll just say this, he helped a very mediocre Miami team win big games this year. I think they're another 7-5 team without him. He's going to be the number one pick. If he was in last year's draft where 6 quarterbacks were taken, where's Cam Ward? Is he going over Caleb Williams? No. You go Daniel there at Washington? No. Is he better than the quarterback in New England? Maybe. Maybe he's the J.J. McCarthy. Is he better than McCarthy as a prospect? Penix Jr. I don't know.
I think he's somewhere. I think he goes in that first round. Maybe he bumps a Penix Jr. Because there were injury concerns about Penix. Maybe he bumps Penix down. Maybe he bumps Drake May down, Yeah. But he certainly isn't thought of as the first player taken in the draft.
No, but I think he's going to go. I think he's going to go to the right situation where you're in a smaller market. You're in I can't believe I'm going to say the Jaguar fans are going to rip me. probably the least interesting division in NFL football, the AFC South, when it comes to headlines. There won't be a lot of pressure. He he's not in the New York market where they'll rip every move he does. I think he's going to the right situation. He's going to be the number one pick. My question for you is, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going top 5. I think he's going to drop. And I think he's going to be one of those like, well, I thought he was going in the top 3. No, I think, what do you think of Shedeur Sanders as we're a week out from the draft?
Well, I think this is going to be interesting because you look on you just look at any prospect list on the board. I'm looking at CBS's right now, and I don't even see Shedeur Sanders as a top 20 prospect on here. And that's just overall athlete. I mean, now when you pull up the quarterbacks, he's second, ranked 27th overall. But, I mean, you look at the quarterbacks in this draft: Ward, Sanders, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel. Sounds like a lot of career backups to me.
Yeah. And look, if you're Sanders, maybe it's not a bad thing. Hey, I dropped to the 20s. I go to a franchise that's an actual football team compared to the Cleveland Browns. Hey, scenario. Let's say you're like Pittsburgh. You get Aaron Rodgers, which should have already happened. Let's say you get Aaron Rodgers, then you draft Shedeur Sanders. Sanders sits. I don't think that's a bad idea for him if you're going to go with this draft. But, all right, if I'm Cleveland, here's what I'm doing. They signed Joe Flacco, by the way, your boy, who won't retire. Joe Flacco will start. Maybe you draft Abdul Carter. You have Carter on one side, and you have Myles Garrett, who just got paid, I don't know, $150 million, whatever it was. You have that wrecking crew as a D-line. Joe Flacco is your quarterback. I think you sell that to fans. I think that's better than taking Shedeur Sanders. What do you think of Cleveland?
Well, you got Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, right? Yeah. They're not taking Shedeur Sanders. They're going to take Abdul Carter, and they're going to do exactly like you said. Because if they put Abdul Carter on one side and Myles Garrett on the other, that takes that defense to a whole new level. Yeah. And if Cleveland's going to have any shot to compete in the North against Burrow and Jackson, then they're going to have to contain those guys. And that's the best, because Flacco's not beating them. Kenny Pickett's not beating them. The best way you can beat them is to stop them. And look, I think Cleveland did beat them last year. So beat the Ravens once last year. So there you go.
I think the Giants will take Travis Hunter. I think you go into this draft, he's the best player on the board. Even though me personally, if I'm a GM, I'm not taking – I would rather – you know my rule. Offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, if we're that high in the draft. But here's how you spin it. It's a weak quarterback draft. I know we need a quarterback. It's a weak draft. Maybe we get one in the second round. Hunter is a generational talent. He could play offense, defense. I think you go that.
He'll put some butts in the seats. Deion Sanders, you get all that with or Travis Hunter. But Travis is linked, in terms of what Deion does for him and his family and all. But you put butts in seats. I think Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU, goes to the Patriots. Drake May needs protection. Yeah. I don't, and then we'll see what happens from there. I never thought I would say this. Usually by the time the Masters comes on, I know everything that's going on with the NFL draft.
I know.
Everything I know is up in the air about this. I'm making some phone calls, talking to some of my buddies out of state that do work for other newspapers and radio stations and things, and trying to talk to them a little bit. And they don't know either. And they're in the cities.
No, it's after we get through maybe the third or fourth pick, then you're going to be like, I don't know. And here's what it's going to be. All right. I will ask you this. Then I want to talk Masters. Okay. My Bears are at number 10. My brother and I get into arguments about this. I go, I don't care how many offensive linemen they got in free agency. I would take the best O-lineman. Okay. But every mock draft, now has us taking that gigantic tight end from Penn State, Allen. Like we should have taken Brock Bowers last year from Georgia over Roma Dunze. I just no, go boring. Just take the offensive lineman. What would you do at number 10?
Take an offensive lineman. Listen, you got Campbell, Armand Mabu out of Missouri, and Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. You got 3 offensive linemen, offensive tackles, not just a lineman. You need a tackle, Mark Moses. Okay. So you got 3 offensive tackles in the top 8. Okay. In terms of guys that could potentially 6'6", 319, 6'4", 332, 6'5", 3. My God. Let one of those guys protect the blind side for your guy for years to come. Yeah, go draft an offensive tackle. You know why? Because it's the smart and the right thing to do. Yeah. That kid was on his back way too much last year.
Yeah, and by the way, that quarterback of Washington, I don't know if you saw this. This is where I'll never, ever, ever get over it. And they're gonna troll me forever. Every Commanders fan. So they had that quarterback of Washington. He's at the Louvre in Paris, okay, where the Mona Lisa is, and he's got a photo of the Hail Mary play. And the headline was, Alan, this should be up in the Louvre. And I know this is a family show. I started swearing when I saw this because I'm never going to let this down. Never. I'm going to get trolled forever for this.
Well, the good news is that the FCC doesn't regulate these podcasts on here. So I think another interesting scenario is Mason Graham, the Michigan defensive tackle, if he's there. I mean, the Bears' 2 best options is a tackle or an interior defensive lineman. They don't need pass catcher in the first round this year. No. They need toughness, grit. And that's either going to come from the tackle position or it's going to come from the interior on the defensive line.
Okay, here's the follow-up. This is for you because you're a Ravens guy.
Yeah.
And you saw the whole career of Ray Lewis, one of the greatest linebackers of all time. Is anyone moving forward going to have that type of career?
No.
Isn't that so I was going over this with another buddy where I'm like,
no.
It'd be cool. Can you get another Mike Singletary, Ray Lewis? I don't think that position is the same anymore.
You can't do it because each position beyond the line has become too specialized for one. Okay. A lot of these guys that, like Ray Lewis was a 3-down linebacker who could cover tight ends. And ask Chad Ochocinco if Ray Lewis could cover him early in his career. Oh, yes, he could. Now, he didn't go downfield with him, but Ochocinco knew not to come across the middle. But no, and just like we used to say, will there ever be another Lawrence Taylor type? No, they're just you just won't. Will we see great defensive players? Yeah, obviously we will. But you're not going to see a guy that laid the type of wood that Ray Lewis laid for the amount of years that he did it. I mean, Ray Lewis sustained 1 injury in his career. He tore his tricep muscle week 5 against the Cowboys in 2013. And thanks to deer antler spray, was back by the Super Bowl.
I forgot about the deer antler. I forgot about this. Let's end with this with Alan Zlotorzynski. And I appreciate coming on.
Yeah,
and man. We want to thank our great sponsor, Walk On Sports Bistreaux, home of the $5 Tito's all day, every day. Okay. Here's what I saw the Masters. And I usually do this, and I want to know what your viewing habit is. I'm not a big golf guy, but every Sunday, the final Sunday of the Masters, I'll watch the back 9. Dude, that was insane. When that 18th hole, when he missed the shot, and then they had to go to the playoff, I was like, oh no, he's gonna blow it again. What was going through your mind as they went to the playoff?
I always watch the first day of the Masters because I like to watch the elder statesmen come out and take the first shot. So I always watch the first 18, and I watched all the coverage from 2 to 6. So I love the Masters. I love the U.S. Open on Father's Day. I'll never forget Tiger Woods winning, the next day on Monday with a torn ACL and a broken leg. I was very happy for Rory McIlroy. And let me say this. Haven't had the opportunity. I don't know if you have, but I've watched Full Swing on Netflix. It's 2 seasons, and they follow guys like Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. They follow them around for 2 years, and they get into their personal lives. So I found myself wondering when Rory McIlroy, and I'm glad he won the green jacket to complete the career slam. My next thought in my head went to, well, I know his daughter's there, but is his wife there? Because in Full Swing, him and his wife were getting a divorce.
Yeah.
So he went over and he kissed this beautiful blonde woman. God bless him. Right? Yeah, that's the other reason you need to watch Full Swing anyway. So he goes over, and lo and behold, I immediately picked up my phone like a teenage girl, Googling the drama. Right? I want to know, is that his wife? Yeah, it's Erica Stoll and Rory McIlroy. The headline said Rory McIlroy sends clear message that him and his wife Erica Stoll are going to work through the divorce. I was happy for the guy. He wins the Masters. He's got his wife there that 5 months ago he was divorcing. Great day for the guy.
It was a great day. Yeah, I understand. It's you're like, who's this? Who's that guy? I was with a bunch of family members, and then my sister's like, all right, is that the wife? Okay, is that the mother-in-law? Who's this person? And
yeah.
I'll just say this. Okay. It's like when President Trump. So anytime he speaks, the whole family's there. So I always play this game. All right, who's the mother of that child? Who's the mother of that one? Which you can't keep up after a while.
It's funny. You stand around and watch Trump speak, and everybody in the room has it. It's the weirdest damn thing because everybody in the room has a different opinion on what comes out. It's funny as hell. Here's the thing about. Let me say this to your viewers with summer coming up. If you don't have Netflix, get it, because they have put some really, really terrific sports documentaries on there in the last 2 years. This Full Swing thing is fantastic. Fantastic. And then, of course, this thing that they just released Friday, a season with the Boston Red Sox. You've never gone behind the scenes with an MLB team before, in the clubhouse, in their private lives. They're mic'd up on the field. You hear and you see it all. It's phenomenal. So, yeah, there's this Full Swing. I recommend it, Mark.
Okay, I will watch it. Yeah, my GM, Pete the Suit, as he likes to be called, he loves the Red Sox, and he's like, yeah, I've been watching this baseball thing. And my reaction was, I'll be a hater. All right, so we got the Celtics one on HBO.
Right.
The Red Sox. What is it? Where's the Bruins one?
I said the same thing to Caleb. I said, Netflix needs to get the hell out of Boston, right? Because as an Oriole fan, I know way too much about the Red Sox. Now I can't hate Tristan Casas, right? I can't hate the guy anymore.
You're seeing it,
right? Because you feel like you know these guys on a personal level now, right? And so you can't hate the Red Sox anymore, which I need to do. I have to do. But it is what it is.
I'll just say this. The pressure is real. When he was up there, and Rose as well. Rose had a chance to win this thing. He almost stole it from.
Listen.
You can see it.
When he missed that putt, 3-foot putt, I thought he was done because Justin Rose entered that playoff hole with 10 birdies on the day. That's as locked in as you can be on any day in a major, or particularly a major. And I really felt like Justin Rose was standing over there on the practice, facility away from the crowd. There was no pressure. They carted him over back to the 18th where they played the hole. But when McIlroy hit that second shot, I knew he wasn't going to miss that putt a third time or second time.
No, just you think of the pressure of like everyone there. There's thousands of people there. They're all looking at you. And then it's like there's all these cameras, and millions of people are watching. Millions. And it's not a team sport. It's all on you.
I'm running an interview tonight with the Vieira golf team that won the 3A state championship last November. And at the end of that interview, and I'll make this quick, at the end of that interview, I spoke with their personal coach, not their high school coach, their personal coach. His name is Ted Bridgekey. And Ted is a guy who's been a life coach. He's a great golf coach. He's a personal golf coach to Lou Holtz. He's helped write Tony Robbins books. He's a great guy you should get on just to talk golf coming up. But what he told me in that interview, and you'll see it tonight on BSN, was that the mental aspect of golf and to watch teenagers like this Vieira team go win a state championship, you never really appreciate just how much and how demanding golf is. And in 2025, Mark, and a lot of people might laugh at this, but not just mentally, but it is also because of guys like Bryson DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy, who spend a lot of time training off the course with their bodies. They have made it somewhat of a physical challenge as well.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It is.
Yeah.
It's interesting with Rory so he's won 5 of them and he's got the Grand Slam now. I was listening in different shows. They're still ripping him for a short game. He's not a good player.
Well, listen.
No wins.
Every Rory's issue is his wedge game, and that's fine. But you know what? It doesn't seem to matter. He's one of 4 guys to ever win a career slam, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. I'll take a problem with my wedge game or a putter if I'm Rory McIlroy.
Oh yeah, he's going to be just fine moving forward. My sister asked the question, all right, so like, do they make money on this? I was like, yeah, there's a purse. He's the top one.
21 million for the Masters.
You know what? It's that scene, and I'll let you go. It's the scene in Happy Gilmore where he's like, hey, how do I get one of those big checks over there? He's like, oh, that's the person who won the tournament. All right, I'm going to go get one of those.
Yeah, dude. I love the fact he thought he could cash it. And I love the fact there's a Happy Gilmore 2 coming out.
That's exactly right. I forgot the part where he wants to cash it. Big check. Oh, great. The best line is when he's like, I was here to make money, but now I'm here to kick your ass.
Yeah.
At the shooter. That's the best. What were you going to say,
I just Shooter McGavin. It was just a great movie.
Shooter's the man.
He is.
What's it called? What do you got coming up tonight then? I'll let you
nothing. We just got the interview tonight, and we're back tomorrow. 2 championship games: the Melbourne Vieira Baseball District Championship and MCC and Merritt Island Lacrosse Championship.
Alan Zlotorzynski, Brevard Sports Network. Thank you so much for coming on. Have a great day, buddy. All right.
You do the same, my friend.
Great stuff. Yeah, Alan's a great friend of mine, and I want to thank him for coming on every Tuesday here on the Mark Moses Show. We want to give a shout-out to Walk On Sports Bistreaux in Vieira, home of the $5 Tito's all day, every day at Walk On's Vieira. And, yes, we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. And, hey, if you are in a car accident, truck accident, slip and fall, call my friends at Anidjar and Levine. That's Mark Anidjar and Glenn Levine. They will fight for you and get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call for a free consultation and don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anidjar and Levine. Take back control of your life. Call them today. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Okay. If you missed the Florida Tech opening press conference for their new men's and women's basketball coach, that is on YouTube. It's also my Facebook page and Twitter. Just search Mark Moses Show. That was fun to go to earlier today. Thanks to Alan Zlotorzynski with Brevard Sports Network for coming on. And tonight, I got to finish some work. I got to go to the Kia Center. That's right. NBA play-in tournament game, 7-8 matchup. Magic hosts the Atlanta Hawks, 7:30 with the tip. It'll be broadcast nationally on TNT. We'll recap it tomorrow. So have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow right here on the Mark Moses Show.